fundsupermart.com.
So I just want to start with a question. Is it common practice for companies to use funds to manage their short-term assets?
Well, in Singapore, for the big companies, it's very common because these are the companies that understand the benefit of using funds and know that is a better alternative to just simply living in the bank. And because they are bigger and have more resources, they tend to have more people who are able to take a closer look at this area. Also, the fund managers generally are also directly talking to them to educate them on the benefits of this category of product. So it's actually very common for the big company. But for the smaller company or medium-sized company, it's probably not as common in Singapore. And I think that's mainly because they haven't been sufficiently educated about it. The bankers generally aren't too interested in selling them this product because there's very little margin to be made. The bankers generally want to actually have something that give a good commission upfront. So for that reason, a smaller, medium-sized company haven't been as well exposed to this category of product. But I think if you look at a lot of the other countries, particularly the more developed countries, it's very common for companies to use funds as a key way to manage the excess cash holdings and reserves that they have.
Okay. Chung Chun, you are the CEO of iFAST. So how does iFAST manage its own short-term assets, and how long has it been managing its short-term assets this way?
Well, we use a combination of the leaving the money in the bank as well as funds. I would say that for iFAST Corp, about 40% of our cash and cash equivalents are actually in investment funds, right? Mainly in the short duration fund as well as money market fund. So we've actually been doing that for the last 6-7 years. Certainly it is a better way of managing the excess cash that we actually have in the company.
Okay. So why did you choose these investment funds? Why not just leave them in a guaranteed cash deposit, for instance?
Well, for a very simple reason. Firstly, better yield, right? Generally you find that these funds will give you better yield, better return on your assets, on your cash, and you generally will generate the better yield without actually taking on too much of risk. In fact, it's very minimal risk. If you look at the historical volatility number, you actually know that it is a better way to actually handle it. So improved yield is a primary reason. Secondly, if you compare against fixed deposit, technically you could say it's actually even more liquid than fixed deposit, because fixed deposit you tend to have to lock in the amount for 12 months, 6 months, etc. But funds generally is a product with daily liquidity. You put in today, you can take out tomorrow. That's the nature of the funds. So there's actually improved liquidity for that. And thirdly, actually for companies, for most companies, there's actually the additional benefit of tax savings on that, because the returns on that, the capital gains on that generally will be exempted from tax, because capital gains in Singapore are not subject to tax, whereas interest income from deposits for companies will actually be taxable.
Okay, so those are the benefits for using funds, but what about the benefits directly to the small business owners and maybe the key decision makers who make the decision to invest in funds?
Well, I imagine for them, this will be the three main factors they will look at. Firstly, better yield on your excess liquidity. Secondly, ensuring that even as you achieve better yield, you have a very good liquidity. And thirdly, if you can generate the extra return without having to pay the tax, certainly these are all clear benefits. So in my mind, these are clear benefit, and I believe that most business owners will find that there's a very compelling reason that they have to actually be looking closely at this group of products.